Snow crunches beneath the boots of soldiers moving through the Belgian Ardennes. A bitter wind bites at their faces, carrying the faint metallic tang of fear. Trucks rumble along icy roads, engines coughing smoke into the gray midday sky. The columns of American artillery observers and engineers strain forward, weary from days of retreat, unaware that the quiet before them is not just a pause in the war, it is the calm before slaughter. Over the ridge, a shadow appears, the unmistakable glint of King Tiger tanks, massive and black, rolling like predators across the frozen fields. Men raise rifles instinctively, but there is no time to form lines, no cover worth the name. The distant bark of machine guns cuts through the cold air, echoes bouncing off trees and empty houses. Soldiers freeze. Eyes dart. Every heartbeat thunders in their ears as orders scream through radios that have already lost signal. From the north, SS troops fan out, armored vehicles grinding forward with mechanical inevitability. A single shot cracks the tension, then another, faster, echoing across the snow. The column halts. Officers shout, civilians and medics duck, the wind carrying the cries of men who realize too late that surrender may be meaningless. A flash of panic. Men scatter, some drop rifles, some scramble behind vehicles, only to be met by the glint of German bayonets and the cold efficiency of trained killers. At the crossroads near Malmedy, fate draws together these Americans, exhausted and unarmed, and the elite SS bodyguard of Hitler. Chaos hangs like smoke over the fields. 113 men, trapped, waiting for the violence about to descend. A chilling certainty presses down. This is no skirmish. This is execution. No one knew that in minutes, the crossroads would be drenched in American blood. Autumn 1944. The Allies have pushed the German army from Normandy, chasing retreating soldiers across shattered villages and bombed-out fields. The maps in Allied headquarters glow with the advance, yet few imagine the storm looming in the Ardennes. Hitler, defiant and desperate, plans a winter offensive meant to split the Western Allies and reverse the tide of the war. What looks like a quiet sector, a forested gap in the front lines, hides a lethal trap. The Germans assemble 3 panzer armies. At the spearhead, the 1st SS Panzer Division Leibstandarte Adolf Hitler, elite bodyguards of the Führer, feared even by their own. Commanded by the ruthless Johann Paper, barely 29, these soldiers are the tip of a spear that will drive deep into Allied lines. Nearly 4,800 men, 117 tanks, 800 vehicles move in ghostly precision, their engines swallowing the quiet of snow-laden villages. Each vehicle, each soldier, trained for speed, shock, and annihilation. Pieper's objective is clear: punch through near Losheim, seize the crossroads at Borgnez, and race west to the Meuse River. Every minute counts. Supply lines are thin, American forces scattered, inexperienced, exhausted. Along snow-covered roads, medics evacuate the wounded, artillery units reposition, and in the villages of Malmedy and Ligneuville, soldiers sip bitter coffee, unaware the storm is already upon them. From the American side, a lieutenant studies the map, debating which route to take. From Pieper's view, a scout reports tracks in the snow, signals of the enemy. Both sides move, unaware of the collision looming at the crossroads. And there, in the frozen silence of the Ardennes, fate presses forward. The stage was set. The trap was ready. And soon, nothing would stop the killing that followed. December 17, 1944. The sun hangs low over the Ardennes, weak against the gray sky. Battery BS trucks crawl toward the Malmedy crossroads, wheels crunching over frozen snow and icy mud. Soldiers glance nervously at each other. PFC Homer Ford, traffic control in the chaos of retreat, waves them forward with trembling hands. Every engine growl seems louder than it should, every shadow longer, darker. From the ridge to the north, the ground shakes. King Tiger tanks, monstrous and relentless, appear like predators. SS infantry fan out, rifles ready, boots sinking into snow, eyes cold and unblinking. The first shot snapped through the still air, high-pitched and sudden, cutting the chatter and shouts of American soldiers. Men freeze mid-step, rifles clattering to the ground, breaths hanging in white clouds. Some raise hands instinctively, surrendering to the unseen forces, but mercy is absent. Chaos erupts. Vehicles jackknife, snow churned with mud and blood. Officers shout orders that are lost in the storm of noise. One soldier dives behind a wheel, another stumbles over frozen ground, hands pressed to a face stung by both wind and fear. The SS moves with practiced precision, closing the circle around the Americans. Smoke and the acrid scent of gunpowder fill the air. The crossroads, a mundane junction hours ago, becomes a cage. Every path forward is blocked, every glance met with the cold aim of rifles and machine guns. Captured, outnumbered, and exposed, these men had no way out, and the nightmare had only just begun. By early afternoon, the field near Malmedy is transformed. Snow, once pristine, is churned and darkened with mud and scattered debris. About 113 American soldiers are rounded into a frozen pasture, standing shoulder to shoulder, rifles abandoned, eyes wide with disbelief. SS troops move among them, searching, stripping pockets, watches, and rings, every token of humanity taken, every personal item catalogued. Silence presses against them, broken only by the hiss of distant engines and the occasional bark of a commanding officer. Then a single shot cracks the tension, fired from a tank-mounted machine gun. Heads snap. Panic erupts, a storm of movement and terror. Some soldiers try to flee into the snow, arms flailing, boots slipping. Others collapse to their knees, pressed to the earth, hearts hammering. The SS responds with brutal efficiency, bullets tearing through the cold air. Snow explodes around men as shots strike. The smell of gunpowder mingles with the coppery scent of blood. Amid the chaos, some survivors freeze, feigning death, clinging to the bodies of comrades to escape the relentless fire. Officers bark orders to the execution squads, moving like predators through the frozen field. Every sound, a gasp, a whimper, a clatter, draws a fatal reaction. The pace is relentless, mechanical, without hesitation. The frozen ground beneath them was no shield. Every heartbeat counted. And in the next moments, what they feared most would come true. The field is a storm of fire and panic. Snow clings to uniforms, now soaked red, boots slip on frozen blood. Men lie still, pretending death, while others crawl desperately, scraping hands over icy earth. Bullets scream past, cutting through air thick with smoke and gunpowder. Every scream echoes, every movement risks another life. From one vantage, SS officers walk among the kneeling and fallen, rifles raised, eyes cold. Their orders are methodical. Their aim is unerring. One soldier drags himself behind a corpse, trembling, breath ragged, listening to the mechanical click of weapons reloading. Another peeks over the mound of bodies, hoping the chaos will hide him. There is no mercy here, only precise, terrifying brutality. A survivor's hands grip a rifle, useless, frozen fingers trembling. Close-range shots strike heads and shoulders, thuds muffled by snow. A faint cry pierces the gunfire, then silence. The scene is surreal, almost dreamlike, yet horrifyingly real. The air smells metallic, acrid. The snow crunches under boots, now mixed with gore. POV shifts to paper, calm, observing, calculating. Orders barked. Vehicles move in ghostly precision. The Americans' hope fades with every measured step of the SS. Some would survive by feigning death. But even in stillness, the shadow of what had been done would never leave them. The gunfire fades. Smoke curls from scorched earth, blanketing the frozen fields. Silence falls heavy, broken only by distant engines and the occasional murmur of the few who still breathe. The bodies of 84 Americans lie motionless, snow-stained red, faces frozen in disbelief and terror. Survivors press themselves against corpses, chest heaving, hearts pounding, hoping the SS will move on. The battlefield, once chaotic, is now a frozen grave. Farther along the Ardennes front, the German offensive falters. Allied resistance stiffens, reinforcements press from the west. News of the massacre spreads through the radio, through whispered reports. Hardened men curse the enemy, resolve crystallizing into determination. Commanders map the destruction, calculating both loss and the moral outrage this atrocity will spark. Investigators arrive weeks later. January 13, 1945. Frozen, mutilated bodies are catalogued. Close-range shots to the head. Blunt trauma from rifle butts. Evidence of execution, not combat. The snow keeps the shape of the horror, preserving the brutality in every indentation, every footprint, every spent shell. Paper, years later, walks quietly in France. Civilians pass, unaware of the man who orchestrated death here. Justice lingers in the shadows. Memory waits, patient and insistent. The massacre was over, but the reckoning was only beginning. And the echoes of this field would haunt both survivor and executioner for decades to come. The snow melts, but the memory of Malmedy does not. Survivors crawl from the frozen field, limbs stiff, eyes haunted by the impossible cruelty they witnessed. Each step is a whisper of horror, every breath a reminder of the men who did not rise again. The war moves on, but this crossroads becomes a symbol, a scar etched into history. In May 1946, justice begins its long, complicated path. Johann Paper, Sepp Dietrich, and 72 others face trial at Dachau. Courtrooms swell with testimony. 7 survivors recount the cold-blooded killings, each word shaking the room, echoing across decades. Defendants claim obedience, argue coercion, try to bend history to their favor. Verdicts, death sentences, life imprisonment. Politics intervenes. By 1956, all convicted are released. Justice, it seems, is a slow and uncertain companion. Paper resurfaces in post-war Germany. Manager at Porsche, living under pseudonyms, blending into normalcy while clinging to old ideology. Recognition comes in 1974. French press exposes his past, resistance members speak his name. Death threats arrive. The quiet he built around himself collapses. Finally, July 14, 1976. Bastille Day flames engulf Paper's isolated home. Gunshots echo. His charred, unidentifiable body is found clutching a pistol and rifle. Only in death does the weight of his actions fully confront him. The Malmedy Massacre becomes more than a field of death. It is a testament to war's darkness, the moral abyss soldiers may face, and the persistent demand for accountability. Memory refuses to fade. History insists. Yet even decades later, whispers of darker orders lingered, actions erased from records but never from conscience. The snow has settled over Malmedy, yet the echoes of that day never fade. Survivors carry the memories like invisible scars, reminders that war spares no one, that silence can be as dangerous as gunfire. The men who fell, the men who watched, the men who ordered it, all linger in history's shadow. And yet, the story is unfinished. Other crossings, other orders, other massacres remain buried, whispered only among survivors or hidden in faded documents. What was lost to time can still be discovered. What was forgotten can still shock. The Malmedy Massacre was only one thread in a web of cruelty, strategy, and human endurance. If you follow these stories, the battlefield does not end with one massacre. It stretches across forests, towns, and the frozen roads of Europe. Each soldier, each survivor, each decision holds a secret, a truth waiting to be uncovered. The crossroads stands silent today. The museum tells its story in glass and stone, but the wind still carries whispers, ghosts of those who ran, those who fell, and those who lived to tell. For those willing to walk these frozen paths of memory, to see war not as strategy but as lived experience, the next chapter awaits. The survivors spoke of executions that were planned but never fully recorded. Orders whispered in shadows, horrors that history almost forgot. Follow the stories, and history will not let you go. The next revelation is closer than you think, and it will haunt as much as it teaches. Because what the SS left behind was more than bodies, it was a secret the Allies would only uncover years later.